Today I am talking with Peter Kennedy, which is my fellow colleague at Electo Finance. Welcome, Peter.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for having me on.
Introduce yourself to our potential clientels and people out there.
Cool. So, as you mentioned, I'm an associate of yours at Electo Finance from a mortgage broking, finance broking point of view. I've also got my own consulting business in property advocacy, amongst other things, and also do some work for the Pat Cronin Foundation to end the coward punch. So, involved in all sorts of stuff. Really passionate about helping people, and hopefully, share some of my insights that can help some other people. So.
Yeah, awesome. And that's an awesome cause as well. It's a very sad and tragic cause that happened to young Pat, and it's great. Your forefront and vying for it to stop the coward punch.
Yep.
As
Absolutely.
well. So,
It's appreciate the support
that you do. So today we are talking about a topic that is on a lot of people's minds, especially people that are in the single market. So people that are thinking that they can never get into the property market because they are single, or they think because they don't have a partner and they can never afford a property. We're going to speak to Pete. Pete's going to give us the rundown of how that is going to change. And being single doesn't mean that you can't opt in to buy a property or an investment property or a first home. Pete's going to give us the rundown of how this can still be a reality for some people and a lot of people. So firstly, we've got some topics that we'll discuss. So main questions that we get a lot of as brokers, as well as, everyday people, is, should I buy a property with a friend if I'm single? Should I buy a property with a family member? Am I better off buying the cheapest property that I can find just to get into that market? And how about buying student accommodation? How can we do it? So Pete, I'll come to you. So should I buy a property with a friend is the first topic that we'll discuss. And, being single in the single market, a lot of people are saying that, there's no way they can afford on their own income. Is it true? How can we change that perspective of everyone's mind?
Yeah, it's interesting. And some of this stuff can be sort of generational stuff. So, generational, there can be pressures from, older generations or whatever to say, you've got to get into the property market, you've got to buy a property, it doesn't matter what you buy, you've got to be in property, you've got to own that place. And, so sometimes that can be really internal pressure that you feel from loved ones.
Yep.
However, there can be quite a change and a shift in relation to how you can do it and how you can do it well. And one of the suggestions I see is that people say, oh, look, just buy with a friend. I buy a place, we'll pull our money together, pull our incomes, and we'll buy a place and we'll make a fortune and let's go. And they'll go, hey, yeah, happy days. And they go, they find a place, speak to a real estate agent. Yeah, great, let's do the deal. It gets done. So it might be, happy days.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, if you look at a single person who buys one asset with a friend, so let's say you and I bought a property together, right?
Yeah.
And everything's hunky-dory, everything's working well, things change. Okay, so, one of us might end up in financial hardship, we might have health issues, we might have a new relationship or whatever. So things change. So if any of those things change and your money and my money is tied up in one asset and one of us needs the funds, guess what? We either sell the property or the other person has to buy us out.
Exactly.
Now remember, we bought this property together as mates because we couldn't do it on our own.
Yep.
So the option of you or I buying each other out is virtually non-existent.
That's right.
You've spent a lot of money buying this property. So if you've spent, say, upwards of 5% in stamp duty or whatever to get this property, and then you've got to pay an agent to sell it, and you've only had it for a shortish period of time, then you're going to go, ouch, that really sucks, right? The other thing potentially happen is you and I buy a property together, we're friends, you might be in a relationship, I might be in a relationship, but we've decided to get this done together, and one of the relationship ends. Well, there's an asset, and then there's a separation, financial settlement. Guess what? There's then pressure again. So don't buy with friends. It's just not worth it.
Doesn't matter how desperate you are to enter the market.
Absolutely, it's just fraught with danger. I see things that have happened over the many years that I've been involved, and there's some lessons that you learned, and for me that's sort of one of those lessons. The other one is buying with a family member. It might be siblings or cousin or something like that. Same situation. What happens when? Okay, so sometimes getting the right advice, especially from an accountant and a lawyer, mortgage broker, property advocate, if you cover off those 4 key areas to just see what the implications are for those key areas, if you get the green tick all the way along, fine, knock yourself out, go for it. But I think you'd find if you're going to buy with a friend or with a family member that you won't necessarily get the green ticks that you need to. Some people, as they evolve in time and they get a bigger asset pool and they've got their property and some other properties, they then might decide to do some joint investments with a friend or a family member. They might set up a trust situation and do something like that from an investment point of view. Totally different kettle of fish, different conversations, different outcomes, then it can be possible. But I think as a first-time buyer to look at that, it's really not necessarily the way to go.